Hi, I'm Chad Hutchings and this is the Roland groovebox MC-101, and this has literally just arrived. So first thing to do is open it up and see what's inside the box. So there's a little tag down the bottom here that's, I know that it's new. I'll undo that. And inside the box we have some rather dainty packaging. Nothing inside the packaging. It's always good to check that though. So here we have it. The groovebox MC-101. It's quite a small size. Kind of imagined it slightly smaller than that, but no, that's a good size. The pads look like they're about a decent size. I was worried they might be a bit small. Would have preferred them a bit bigger, and maybe the whole box a bit bigger, but no, it's looking good. Also inside this box, 4 AA batteries, which can power it, but I'm going to power it using a power bank through the USB port. And we have a Roland manual. So not a lot in the box, but the all-important part, the MC-101. On the back of the MC-101, we've got the left and right output to go to an amplifier, although you can just plug into the left one, which is a mono, if you want to do mono instead of stereo. We've got an in and out MIDI DIN sockets, so if you want to connect up a MIDI controller, because this has only got pads, not keys, and these pads aren't touch sensitive or pressure sensitive, adding a keyboard through the MIDI ports would probably be a good idea. Next to that, we've got the memory card slot with a memory card already put in there, courtesy of Roland. And then we've got the USB B type port here, which allows you to connect this to a computer or connect up a power source. And then at the end here we've got the on and off button, or on and off switch. Underneath we have the battery compartment, which takes 4 AA batteries, and on the front we've got a phone input or headphones input. On the top we've got 8 knobs. One's the master volume knob, we've got 2 FX knobs, we've got the value knob, which is the one you use to go through the menus, which can also be pressed as a second way of using it to select things. And then we've got 4 control knobs that do various things according to what mode you're in on the MC-101. And on top of that we've got 4 faders. Now these mainly are the 4 volume controls for the 4 tracks. Then we've got 16 touch pads white ones at the front, which are used for step recording or for real-time recording. And then we've got 21 various other function pads to do all sorts of other things. And finally on here we've got a 2-line LED display for showing the information for menu selections. Now, one thing that I should say at this point is the manual that comes in the box is pretty much useless, mainly because the way that this MC-101 works is it doesn't have a menu button and then you can scroll through the different menus. It uses shortcuts, and shortcuts are kind of great, except for the shortcuts on here aren't always obvious or particularly logical, so you're going to need to download the electronic version of the proper manual, not the one that comes in the box, from the Roland website. Now, switching this machine on is pretty quick. It turns on quite quickly, or when you're loading in a new project, that comes up quite quickly. And once you've got used to using the different shortcuts, programming it is pretty straightforward. So as I said, it's got 4 tracks, and those tracks can be either a drum track, a synth track, or a sample track. And the engine in the sound engine in the MC-101 is Roland's wonderful Zen Core sound engine. So you've got lots of good quality drum kits, synth sounds, and you can import samples from the memory card. Talking of tracks, the tracks on the MC-101 are not linear. So when you make a recording, it's recorded as a clip, and you can only have one clip on a track at a time. But you can record up to 16 different clips, and by pressing the pads, you can swap in and out different clips. You also can record what's known as scenes, and a scene allows you to record up to 4 clips, that's 1 clip per track, onto a scene, and you can record up to 128 different scenes, so you can then use the pads to swap between the different scenes, and you can then create a song quite easily in real time by changing the scenes with the pads. Well, I've been using the MC-101 now for just over an hour, so what is my first impressions? Well, I'm not particularly keen on the headphone socket on the front, because if I'm using the MC-101 on my lap, which is my kind of preferred way of using it, the headphones cable sticking out of the front of the machine just gets in the way. I'm not very keen on the pads they're not pressure sensitive, and I think that was a missed opportunity. And the shortcuts, they're complicated to learn and they're not particularly logical, and I think the way they've been done probably doesn't make them as beneficial as they could be. That said, I'm really loving using the MC-101. I can't wait to plug this into my Vortex Wireless 2 and see how I get on with that. So first impressions, a 9 out of 10 I would say.